Doug, we're wrapping up week 4 of the 2022 NFL season, and we only have one undefeated team left. It is the Philadelphia Eagles. They overcame a 14-0 deficit to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, ending it with a 29-21 win. Atypically for a team that came out throwing earlier in the season, the Eagles actually responded to this 2-score deficit by really just running the ball down the Jaguars' throats, right? Jacksonville defense had really been the NFL's best against the run. In their 3 games before this, the Jags had allowed 165 yards on the ground, 3.1 yards a carry, and no touchdowns on 53 attempts, right? So against the Eagles, Jags give up 210 yards, 4.2 yards a carry, and 4 touchdowns on 50 carries. Again, this is a team that was down 2 touchdowns earlier in the game, and they still pound the rock 50 times. It's clear the Eagles can win. Right, it's clear the Eagles can win any way they want, right? Are they unquestionably the best team in the NFL right now?
Yeah, Luke. I mean, this was a statement game. This was a kick down the door statement game. This was a set your garage on fire. This was a Braveheart statement game. It's one thing to overcome a 2-touchdown deficit against a really good opponent. It's quite another to come out and play bully ball against a defense that had been the bully. Jaguars, I mean, you've seen them. They were, top run defense in the league. The Eagles completely flipped the script due to the conditions of the game. A lot of, Hurricane Ian was coming up the coast and all that. And they didn't hesitate at all to succeed that way. And when you can call your shots like that, when you can win no matter what, they're the best team in football. The Eagles did this with 2 of their offensive linemen. Left tackle Jordan Mailata had a shoulder injury, and right guard Isaac Siamalo was out with an ankle injury. Lost during the game, so they had 2 backups in there doing this. We're not even talking about a defense that shut the Jags down. We could do the entire show about how impressive the Eagles' win was and for how many reasons. It wasn't just the run game. The way James Bradbury disguised his look on the Trevor Lawrence interception was teach tape, just primo. But I'll leave it there. They are the road to anything this season goes through the link, and that's just the way it is. There's no question about it.
I mean, you are what your record says you are, right? That's the old adage, and I think it's true here. I mean, the Eagles are the best team in the league, and it's because, like you said, they can win however they want on both sides of the ball, right? They can ground and pound on offense, or they can make the big plays through the air. They can stuff the run, get after the quarterback. They can create takeaways and make big plays in coverage on defense. I still don't think Hurts gets enough credit for what he can do as a passer, and obviously his versatility, his ability to run the ball is just such a dangerous weapon. Opposing defenses have to be so frustrated trying to defend all the different things that this offense can do well. Again, they are the most complete, most balanced team in the league right now, and I think their record reflects that.
Yeah. Hurts is a great runner. I think only Josh Allen had more rushing yards among quarterbacks. And I found this stat out this morning because I'm writing a tape piece on the Eagles run game right now. This is crazy. Miles Sanders had 27 runs for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. 27 runs. 26 of them were out of 11 personnel, which is 3 receivers, 1 back, 1 tight end. Yep. 26 of his 27 runs were out of passing personnel. So they're really messing people up with this.
Speaking of the team on the other end of that comeback, right, with the Jaguars, I mean, are we just chalking this loss up to being beaten by the best team in the league, or did this defeat kind of reveal some cracks in the armor for a team that was looking really promising through those first 3 weeks? I mean, we were both talking about this game as a potential clash of the Titans going into it. In the end, it really was anything but.
Yeah, it was for a few minutes, and then it really wasn't. I don't get a fluke feeling about Jacksonville. They were, obviously with Urban Meyer, they were in, total free fall. Doug Peterson comes in. They lost to the Commanders in week 1 while they were still figuring things out. They had 2 really good games. I think they're a very good team on the rise. I think they got poleaxed by a number of things. Like Trevor Lawrence doesn't have a history of playing in the rain. He's not going to fumble 4 times in a game very often. The run schemes, as we mentioned, were set up specifically and perfectly to fool Jacksonville's defense into reacting as opposed to attacking. It's an attack defense. It's not a patient defense. They want to go for your face. They're not going to deal with many other offenses at that level. The Eagles also overhauled their defense this offseason, and that really showed up in this game. I want to mention again, Lawrence was seeing things he didn't expect and was ready for. The Bradbury interception, that came against cover 3. And Lawrence thought that Marvin Jones would carry Bradbury to the end zone, and Bradbury adjusted perfectly to come back inside and jump the throw to Christian Kirk. That's a play that not a lot of cornerbacks are able to make. And they got him, for relatively cheap because, hello, Giants, in your horrible cap situation. Things like that, it's not so much that the Jaguars are horribly flawed or anything. It's when the Eagles are just so on point right now, it's going to be tough for anyone to beat them. And I think the Jaguars will be fine. And actually, it's one of those things where if you get, punched in the mouth a little bit early in the season, that might not be bad for them because they were riding high and kind of, maybe they're a little overconfident. Maybe thinking, hey, we're toe-to-toe with the Eagles. Now you kind of know where you are.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, with such a young team, Doug, I think the most important thing and maybe the best thing they have going for them in Jacksonville is the fact that they have Doug Peterson there to captain that ship instead of the other guy that you mentioned. I can't imagine what it would be like if this team was trying to respond to something like this with Urban Meyer still as the head coach instead.
Well, maybe Urban would stay in Ohio and hang out at a bar with a woman who was not his wife right after the Jaguars lost a heartbreaker in overtime to the Bengals. I'm just saying hypothetically, not that any coach would actually ever do that.
No, definitely not. And certainly not Urban Meyer himself in reality as a thing that actually happened.
My goodness. Anyway.
Again, back to Peterson, they have a leader who knows how to win, how to respond to these in-season situations and the adversity that comes up. And really that's invaluable, right? This team still has tons of talent on both sides of the ball. They're still very young and still have enough potential and upswing to keep improving. I think this, like you said, was a very valuable teaching moment for them. And lucky for them, I think they have the right teacher for the job this time.
Unquestionably. And, this they found out where they are and they know what they need to improve. It's early enough in the season where it doesn't really set you back. It's a good time for this to happen. If a loss can be positive, and I think the loss to the Commanders in week 1 was positive. Like, okay, we're in better shape, but this is it's a playoff team. I think it's a very good team. It's just the Eagles have been on this path for a very long time, and when you become obviously the best team in the NFL, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't usually happen in one season. I watched the Legion of Boom Seahawks get built from the studs. That took 4 years. I mean, it takes the time it takes.
Speaking of teams with great defenses that didn't look so great in week 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they had given up 27 points total in their first 3 games, 9 points a game. They gave up 28 points to the Chiefs in the first half in Sunday Night Football, a 41-31 loss for Tom Brady and the Bucs. Was this just a case of Patrick Mahomes going thermonuclear as we've seen him do before, or are there concerns about the Bucs themselves beyond what he did last night?
I think the answer is yes. How about that Chiefs offensive line? You don't often see Vita Vea get pushed off his spot over and over, and Nunez Roches, the other defensive tackle, where he got picked up and thrown out. Yeah, that oof.
Not good.
Yeah, I think it's more about the fact that the Bucs ran into a buzzsaw in a version of Mahomes who might have been looking for a bit of revenge regarding a certain Super Bowl a couple of years ago. That might have been a factor. Maybe yes. No, actually, you said it was. The Chiefs' offense is cooking with gas in a way it simply wasn't last year, especially in the run game. More gap blocking, which I've been like, you guys are built for gap. Do more of it. Creating explosive passing plays out of different personnel packages, which they're incredibly good at this year. Andy and Eric Bieniemy have Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy opened that part of the playbook up. My concerns about the Buccaneers have far more to do with their offense, and this game was a case of the defense just being unable to hold up for the offense anymore because Mahomes is, going full volcano. You have the offensive line and receiver issues. Tom Brady's obvious and repeated frustration with the way things are going. He's kind of turning into Aaron Rodgers with that, which is weird. I know about the Brady death stare, but it seems like it's happening all the time now. I'd be inclined to call this a burn the tape game for the defense and focus on the offense and coordinator Byron Leftwich can get things back on track on the other side of the ball because, you still got Mike Evans. You still got a pretty decent offensive line. You've got playoff Lenny. You got talent. You should be better than that on that side of the ball.
Yeah, it's week 4, right? It's way too early for the panic button in Tampa Bay, I think. But there were a couple of things that I saw Sunday night and trends that were kind of coming out of the Green Bay game in week 3 as well that I definitely think are big concerns that Bucs fans should be seeing right now. And I think, first of all, that's the second home game in a row where they've just come out completely flat on both sides of the ball, right? And obviously when you fumble the opening kickoff and set Patrick Mahomes up from the 21 on the first play of the game, that's not going to help your case. But
not how they do
when you have all that energy, Doug, and you're at home, you've got your home crowd, and you come out looking lost on defense with a lack of communication and blown coverages, and like you're one step behind the opposing offense every time, and you're the home team, you're the one with all the you're supposed to have the momentum and the energy and all this preparation, and then they can't stop the run, Doug. They can't
No, you can't.
stop the
And
run.
that's
And
weird that for this
going
defense,
back to Todd
that's
Bowles
weird.
in 2019, right? 2019, Todd Bowles is defensive coordinator. He has the hallmark of his defense has been we stuff the run and make you throw. There are teams that literally would run 2 or 3 times in the first quarter and just give up because they couldn't get it done, and they would
The
just sling the
Cowboys
ball.
and the Patriots both last year just said, heck with it. I know families
Right.
heck with it.
And rightly so. Rightly so. But Sunday night, that just wasn't the case. The Chiefs ran for around 200 yards. They averaged 5 yards a carry. And this is a team that couldn't run the ball on the Colts the previous week at all. So it's a huge concern to me. Again, Mahomes is going to make his plays, and that's fine. He made some highlight reel plays like he always does Sunday night. But the biggest problem for this team moving forward is they have got to figure out how to stop the run, because if they can't do that, I don't know what else they can do well that they'll actually be able to do well on that side of the ball. And again, going back to the slow starts on offense, their scripts are boring. Their scripts are predictable.
Where's the
that
play
offense
action?
gets
Where's the motion? It's like the stuff that Brady.
Where's the motion? Where's the play action? Where is targeting Mike Evans before maybe the end of the first quarter and finally getting the best player on your offense the ball? There's just so many things that don't make sense with the way this team is playing right now over the last couple of weeks, and they've got to get them figured out fast. I think the next 3 weeks will allow them to do that. They're home against Atlanta. They play Pittsburgh. They play Carolina. So they've got a little bit better matchups to iron those things out. But those are the things that genuinely concern me about the Bucs moving forward.
Getting the ball to your best player. I have heard rumors that there's some reason to do that. Kind of a good philosophy.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
If you can, you should.
Yeah, it works. Closing us out, Doug, speaking of teams, again, that had trouble holding leads on Sunday, this is the second time this season already that the Ravens have lost a game in which they had a lead of at least 17 points, a 3-score lead. They had one against the Bills on Sunday. They had a 21-point lead against the Dolphins in week 2 and lost that game. I mean, this speaks to some obvious defensive issues, but turning our attention to that 4th and goal play from the Buffalo 2-yard line, you got 4:15 left in the game. You're tied 20-20. Did you agree with the Ravens' decision to go for it there instead of taking the easy lead and the field goal there? Lamar Jackson throws an interception to Jordan Poyer on the play. Bills never gave the ball back, right? They go on a 12-play, 77-yard drive. They end with the game-winning field goal as time expired. I mean, should John Harbaugh have gone for the points there and taken the lead?
I don't think he should have gone for the points. I think he should have called a run play. Now, let's go into the passing play. Harbaugh said after the game that he was trying to go for the touchdown because he wanted to force the Bills into a 4-down offense. The Bills were already a 4-down offense, John. Watch the tape. He knows that. He's a smart guy. But whatever. I can see the logic. I can also see that Jordan Poyer made a play on the ball that maybe 2 or 3 defensive backs in the NFL would make. Like him, Minka Fitzpatrick, and I don't know who else. When
Duvernay was open for like an hour. If he sees him early and gets rid of the ball, he's wide open.
Well, the problem was Greg Rousseau was right in his face because Morgan Moses lost the battle to Rousseau at right tackle, and Daniel Falele, who was in for Ryan Stanley, lost to Shaq Lawson on the other side. So Lamar had a compressed pocket. He couldn't move either way. He had to wait for Rousseau to get his hands down. So anyway, Duvernay is – and – Jordan Poyer said after the game, this is his direct quote, he was wide ass open, and I had to run over there. Poyer was over by the goalpost because his assignment wasn't Duvernay. His assignment was to spy Jackson because the Bills were terrified that he was going to run a quarterback draw, which he had done the play before, and had he not slipped on the turf, that would have been it. So I get the philosophy. I would say that, 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, that play probably works. Because you got to remember, we're just last week on 4-Down Territory Alert, we're talking about Lamar as not just the MVP, but the kind of quarterback we've never seen before. I don't have a problem with John Harbaugh betting on that guy. I just think it didn't work out. When we talk about 4-down plays, controversial situational calls, we have to be careful not to get process and outcome mixed up. So I don't have a problem with them going for it. I think they should have run the ball because then if it doesn't work, you still have a tie ball game. Bills are at their own 2 or 1 instead of their own 20 with a touchback. That's probably how I would have gone with it.
Yeah, it's I see the sense in the way you explained it, but it's just hard for me not to make this so simple. And I really hated the call. Again, if you run the ball, I think that's probably a better situation. You're not going to get any argument from me about how great Lamar Jackson is and how comfortable I am putting the ball in his hands with the game on the line. I don't have any problem with that. It just seems so simple to me. You're choosing possibly not having the lead versus having the lead against a team and an offense that no matter what Josh Allen does on the following drive, you're going to have to stop him anyway. You're going to have to stop him from getting in field goal range to tie it or a touchdown to win at that point.
Right.
But at that point, the worst case scenario you're hoping is that they get in field goal range and they kick a field goal. They play it safe, right? They just want to take the tie and we go to overtime. You kind of took that out of their hands by making a much more risky call. And again, to throw the ball where everything is condensed, there's so little space to work with. I don't know how Duvernay got that wide open in that little space. So it worked out to an extent, but it's a team game. Everybody's got to work together and do their jobs. And like you said, Lamar can't see that open if the protection's not there, which is why I think at the end of the day, it just felt like such a simple call to me. You take the field goal, you kick it away, you have the lead now. Now you've made the other team have to make the play to tie or win the game, and if they don't, you win, let alone tie. And it felt like an overcomplication of what should have been a very simple decision to take the points, take the lead, and if you get the stop, you get the win.
Probably. The much maligned Greg Roman, Baltimore's offensive coordinator, who I've always kind of stood up for. I think he's better than people think. The reason Duvernay was so open, just real quick, he ran a corner route to the boundary, and they had Mark Andrews running sort of a in stop, and Buffalo's cornerbacks kind of both went, what? And got stuck in the middle. So it was a great route concept. They had it wide open. As Poyer said, wide ass open. If 6 different things don't go the wrong way for Baltimore, that's touchdown. 8 times, 9 times out of 10, that's touchdown. It's just probability, outcome. As I said, process and outcome, 2 different things.
They are 2 different things, Doug. What a week! What a week! Week 4 again, another fantastic week full of games that were exciting. Games we didn't expect. Did you have Jared Goff versus Geno Smith as a 48-45 shootout? I know I did.
Let me check. No. Did I have Geno Smith as a better quarterback for the Seahawks than Russell Wilson? Also no. Kind of looking like
also
that way.
No. Hey, well, I can't wait to see what Week 5 has for us, Doug. We are so grateful for you, the NFL fans, for checking out the show again this week. Once again, for Doug Farrar and Touchdown Wire, I am Luke Easterling, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.